Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. I am flabbergasted and excited at the same time because my guest today is Cathy Callahan, and she has been a speaker on, I think, every summit I've had so far. And somehow I realized, oh my God, I've never had her on the show. This is stupid and crazy. We need to change this. So I am ecstatic to have her here today. So if you haven't participated in any of our previous summits, guys, you missed out on the amazingness that is Cathy Callahan, but we're sharing some of that information here today. So let me tell you a little bit about her in case you don't know anything about her. She's a past school teacher and owner of multiple successful offline businesses. And she's now moved her business online and now coaches others to do the same. She's a Midwest mom of all boys and is known for working out of her closet, literally the only quiet space she can find. By partnering authenticity with strategy, Cathy teaches her students how to create new connections and conversations online to get more results in their businesses. She loves teaching others how to create an actual business plan using systems that are simple, fun, and effective. And she is the creator of Purpose Creator Action Taker University, also known as PCAT-U. So if you hear us talking about that now, you'll kind of know what that is. So Cathy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jennie, how are you?
I am doing really well. And like I said, I was flabbergasted when I was looking through my list going, certainly I've put her on the show by now. No.
Well, that's because you gave me a form to fill out and I didn't fill out the form. I'm so nervous. I'm so excited. I know this is going to be super chill, but I have all the butterflies. Isn't that so funny?
It cracks me up because I know how many classes you've taught. I know how many webinars you've done. I know you have had multiple launches within your business to help people who are in direct sales and network marketing. And the fact that you're nervous to talk to me just cracks me up because we've already talked how many freaking times we've met in person.
Okay, but now there's other people listening and I'm staring at her face on the screen. So for those of you who can't watch, Jennie and I can't see, obviously no one can see, right? We're seeing each other. And normally I'm live video. I love live video. And then you sit on Zoom and I'm oh my gosh, it's just a different element. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be perfect. Thank you guys for listening. I am thrilled to be here. And honestly, it is. I mean, Jennie and I have hung out so much and we talked about the podcast probably a year ago. And I told my assistant, my magical unicorn, I need to fill out that form. Why am I hesitant? I'm nervous. It's just a different delivery system. I love live video and I'm podcasting. I've only done one before. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. No. And what's really nice about this is you do have this anonymous audience, right? You have no idea who's listening, which is actually to me very freeing because I'm I'm never going to know if they hate me or not. It's great.
Yeah. Unless they comment. And
you know what? So far, the podcast has 4.9 stars out of 5 because one person gave me a 3-star, but they didn't tell me why. So that's okay. Everybody else has given me 5 stars. So it's all good. But that's the entirety of the entire podcast, 150 plus episodes at this point. So
Bam.
I know. Can you freaking believe it? It's 3 years old now and it's rocking and rolling. So this is the perfect time to bring you on anyway. So we kind of hinted at your history, but how did you end up being in a space where you are serving people in direct sales and network marketing?
Well, I was a direct seller and network marketer. So I'm curious, I'm assuming most of this audience is in the direct sales space.
Mm-hmm.
somehow. But that was my history. I used to be a school teacher, and gosh, go back to 2006. You guys, if you are listening, whoever did network marketing back in the home party day, that was my life, right? How I ended up helping others was not until 2019, I moved online. And so we can kind of fill in the gaps as the conversation continues, but to get to how I can help people, and really what I hope that everybody gains from this is I started thinking like, how can I do it in a way that fits my life? And I stopped keeping myself in that box of like, it has to be done this way. And so at that time it was pre-pandemic, and I was like, I just don't want to do it that way anymore. I want to do something different. So I started partying out of my closet, and we're in my closet right now is where I'm doing this Zoom with you right now. And if you ever go watch my YouTube videos, there's a lot of my party videos, and I'm in my closet almost all the time. And I started uploading videos to YouTube because my brain wasn't smart enough to just download to a hard drive. So my thought was, what if Facebook ever dies? I need backup video. So I copied videos over to YouTube, not to gain a following, not because I coach, just like in case my party, whatever. And I had 19 subscribers, don't know where they found me. And then fast forward to 2020, you know what happens? And people are like, I found your video on YouTube and I want to know how to take my business online. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And at that time, I was actually working with a coach to try to figure out Facebook ads for direct sales. And if you guys are doing that and it's working for you, that's awesome. But for me, it was very hard to connect a paid ad to network marketing because you can't do it directly. And so you had to do all these workaround words, and it just wasn't like authentic enough. And I felt like I was tricking people. It was very strange. So I'm like, I don't want to do ads for MLM, but I'm wanting to do this class because people are asking for help with virtual parties. So if we've ever hung out before, I'm kind of known as the virtual party queen. I party out of my closet for a living, and it's what I did to now grow multiple businesses. And so I did a free class, and the girl who was helping me with ads said, let's like make a paid challenge. And so in July 2020, we launched Virtual Party Challenge, and we ran some ads for it. And then I just started finding more and more and more, mostly women who just wanted to do their business differently. And they were kind of in a place where I was, where what they were doing was not quite accepted yet. And they heard a lot from uplines like, that's not how we do things. We don't do that. And I'm like, why not? Like, I don't socialize with people outside of my home. I have 4 boys. And at that time, I'm a single mom now. I wasn't at that time. And I'm like, how else can I do this? And so I just started sharing. And then I started being like, let's be smart business women, and started monetizing on a small level and created a business group. And it's just grown from there. And now we've scaled outside of just parties. So that's my long story, kind of short.
No, but it's good for people to know, because the person who's listening right now, because the difference between podcasting and like a webinar, for example, is podcasts are extremely personal. They're very intimate. There's one person listening right now.
Right.
I don't know who it is, but somebody's listening. One person is listening to us right now. It's all happening in the ears, right?
Yeah.
But they're connecting to different parts of your story. My guess is, based on the branding of this podcast, the fact that Badass Direct Sales Mastery, BDSM, the fact that it's completely on the edge of norm, quote unquote, normal. I'm putting air quotes around that. Whoever's listening has probably heard, oh, we don't do it that way.
Yeah.
And they've probably heard it a few times. Oh, that's not how it's done. Or we don't do it that way. Or we don't do it like that at this company, right? Like, they've probably heard that. How did you break past that, your upline saying that to you? Because for some people that can be soul crushing. Like, oh, okay, well, maybe I won't do that.
Girl, it makes me actually want to cry, because it was so hard. And I don't know the personalities here. I know you're much more of a, I'm going to channel my inner Jenny, right? I'm the people pleaser. And it was my upline. She is still one of my best friends, but she was the first one to say, and I remember where I was standing at in my kitchen when she told me, like, live video is not duplicatable or duplicable, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
And I just stood frozen, and I was like, but it's working for me. She's like, you can't like have your team do that. Most people don't want to do that. And the answer to the question is, I was like, if I don't do that, I quit, because there's nothing else right now that I can find as a way that I can connect with people to build this business. And I guess over the many, many years, so many of us in direct sales, it's a huge personal development company really disguised as whatever we sell, right? We know that it's, yes, we're selling health and wellness or jewels, but we become different people. So it certainly was not an overnight journey, and certainly something I still overthink, like, oh, will this be like right now I'm moving into mass automation. I'm about to launch a full, it's going to be incredible platform for automation. And that's still not completely accepted. And I'm like, what will people think? But at the end of the day, I know my heart and I know my calling. And actually how Jennie and I met, for those of you who probably nobody knows except Rachel Stewart, who invited us to meet each other. I used to own a home care agency, and it was very successful after a few years of rebuilding that. And I remember saying, I'm not fulfilled. Like, I've got people in place. I'm making a lot of money now. I had 2 more babies. And I was like, why am I not happy? And I'm like, and this is my belief system, but I was like, if I stood at the feet of Jesus, I'm not walking in my purpose. And I put the thing up for sale. And I'm like, I will never trade time for money again. My kids are my priority. I've learned to prioritize myself. That's been a difficult one. And I just realized, and this is where I love to help women really make decisions, like, what really is your calling? Like, what, it doesn't matter if it's BDSM or if I was doing a Facebook Live today on lessons from a power washer. It was really good. You should go watch it. But,
I will.
I was covered in mud and I was like, okay, what is my message? And really, like, how do I go to sleep at night with myself every night and know that I did the right thing? And I know you've said it. I've heard other trainers say it, like, don't focus on the $1 million, focus on the 1 million people. And your goal was 10,000 people affected by your trainings or podcasts. And I'm like, that's how you do it. Like, what difference can you leave in this world? And then my area of expertise is also how to make $1 doing it. How to keep it, like, make it fun, make it simple, but make it effective. And for me is, I got to make some money. I can't lie about that. So how can I be smart with this as well? So
right.
I make those decisions.
And I think that that's what makes it all worthwhile, right? Like, we've got to have that authenticity, like I read in your bio, right? We've got to have that authenticity, being ourselves and knowing our true priorities, what we're willing to do, what we're not willing to do to build our business. And so by knowing that, hey, I know this isn't the way it's traditionally done, but if I don't do it the way that I'm doing it, I'm going to quit.
I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it. Exactly. I think that's really important too, because I literally just had this conversation with a coaching client over the weekend, because she texted me and she was like, hey, I need to chat with you about something. And what it was about was the fact that, hey, the company has this process set out, right? And every company out there, every direct sales, network marketing, MLM company promotes their process. Here's how you get to success. Here's what needs to be done. Here's the formula. Do these things. And what I explained to her is, what the company presents to you is what they've noticed is the bare minimum, the bare bones of what all the successful people are doing. But if you look at the people who are successful in your company, they are doing at minimum that, but they're each taking it and doing it in a different way.
That's right.
Right? For you, it was doing it online. You still were probably doing the same process, get the product in front of, let's say, 5 people a week, right? Maybe the company's formula was 5 people a week, show the product, have them taste it, try it, wear it, whatever, 5 people a week. Well, they didn't say how.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Right. So I think the important thing is to know, what is the bare bones process that the company is saying, okay, do this. Now, how do you make it yours? Right. And for you, it was taking it online.
Yeah.
Now with what you're doing, started with virtual parties.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, because it's now been 2.5 years since the world shut down.
Yes.
Virtual parties are still a thing, but I think they've changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have changed. And something you said a minute ago. So whenever you think about getting any time in front of people. So if you guys are, obviously you're still listening, or you didn't just hear the statement I made, but for those, thank you for still listening. I'm like, what's the big takeaway? And the why, the what, and the how is something I really focus on with people. And you look at Simon Sinek's circle of, I always say finding your why. Is that
Start with why.
Start with why. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think about the why and you think about the middle of the circle and the mission, that's what we talked about. Like, what's the fuel to go? And I'm definitely not the girl that's like, let's find the why that makes you cry, because I'm like, dude, we can cry all day long about the why, but until we get to work, we really don't, we've got to get to the how. So the why, the what, and the how is the why and the what have to be clear. The vision and the mission have to be there. The how, the strategy, I literally freaking do not care what you choose. And that's why I've been perplexed in this industry that we all are like, this is the one way. No, the one way that works is the one that you actually did and kept doing. Right. And so,
amen.
And so the parties were they resonated with me. I enjoyed them, even when I'm writing a chapter for a book right now. And I was like, I think last night, I'm like, I think I'm going to write the book right now. And I just talked. And something that really stood out was that whole, like, quit arguing about the how. And parties were the one thing that when life happened, I would still do them. I wouldn't negotiate it away. And so parties just brought me joy. Like, I felt like I was delivering joy. I felt like it was reciprocal, like I was fueled by it, not drained by it. And I didn't care whatever people said, like, parties are dead. Well, whatever, like, Pinterest is dead. No, it ain't. Somebody's making $1 million over there. Right. Mm-hmm. So pick something and stick with it. And so when I first started partying online, it was January 2019. I did it in Facebook groups. It seemed like that worked really well. And I probably went through 5 different strategies within the same concept. And last August, probably 2021, something weird happened in groups and we had to just pivot. But what you said earlier is like the bones are there. And so the reason why I believe that I can make parties work differently than others is because I understand, go back to in-person belly to belly business. I understand foundational business principles. I understand conversations. I understand having to create relationships first before you can ask for the sale. I understand why post and pray doesn't work, because it didn't work for me just to show up at a party and hold a sign on my chest and sell a bunch of stuff. Like, that's not what happened. And people have to have an experience, right? And they have to, like, Rita Davenport was the president of my old company, and she's written a book called Funny Side Up and probably lots of other things. Go watch her. She's funny. But she said people have an invisible sign on their forehead that says, make me feel important. And it's so true. And I was like, how can I deliver an experience online? Not make a sale, not get a recruit, although those things have not been a problem. But how can I do that first? And so now I'm with a new company and we are partying just on a public Facebook page. Same concept, different delivery. I also have it multi-streaming over to a YouTube channel. So we have a party channel. And a lot of my students are still doing parties traditionally, but some that aren't party-based companies are partying. And we just kind of apply the concept and say, okay, how can we incentivize people to listen, And so that is how I started. And it's still, I party only 2 times a month now. It used to be 8 times a month. But with other strategies, I partner it. And that's my highest conversion event is live events. But now I can funnel people and get larger amounts there. So I don't need to do them as often. My skill set has improved. My comfort level has improved, and we mass duplicate. So yeah, it's just the same concept, but how else can you do it? And quite honestly, coaching is just like a party. So I'm doing an event in August of 2022. And I'm like, it's basically like a party. Right? You find some people, you figure out, how you can help them, the problem you can solve, you find out who has that need, you give them a reason to show up, you deliver the message, you give them an experience, you ask the questions that they didn't even know that they needed answers to, and then you make the offer and you make it like FOMO. No, is that urgent? You have an urgent offer. Like, don't keep sitting on this. So no matter what it is, I'm like, it's the same thing. It's all the same. Yeah. So I still love the strategy.
So a couple things on that. First of all, I hope everybody just paused and rewound and listened to that last 30 seconds, 15 times. And if you haven't, do it now. Go pause. Because all of those things, those are important things. Those are things I work on my own business with my business coach on, or literally every single one of those things. But the second thing that comes up is that urgent piece. Because I know in the world of direct sales and network marketing, so many consultants are scared to say the deadline is.
Correct.
Right? The last time you can order, right? They'll do that on August 31st, last
Correct.
day of the month, but any other time, they're like, oh no, you can order anytime, blah, blah, blah. What's the difference? Why is it that you think, putting a deadline, making something urgent matters?
Well, it matters because it works. Because here's the thing, people are coming to an event if you do it well. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking mass spam invite via an invite button.
No.
I'm talking you do the appropriate type of inviting where you always reverse engineer, right? Like at the end, we want to sell this healthy living package. At the end, we want to sell this jewelry package, whatever, like what's the end goal? Now work backwards. So who are you really marketing to? And they're coming in already with a known need. A desire or a pain point that, a problem we need to solve. And it is a mass disservice to just let them not solve that problem. Now, I'm not talking about pushing a sale for somebody who's like, I don't wear jewelry. And I'm like, you got to buy the jewelry. That's dumb. Okay. No, I'm talking about somebody who's like, I'm really looking to feel better. And you listen to that. And now they're not making a decision. I cannot help them with the transformation that way. Right. And so whenever I realized it's not helping anyone, I'm not closing sales. I'm not helping customers have the transformation either through the products or the company that is really my mission. I make it fun. I'm like, listen, you're sitting on the edge of something. I'll give you a reason to jump off. Here's a little incentive. They're like, okay, thank you. That's all I needed. Right. And I'm like, cool. And so it's fun to do things together. The energy is there. And whenever we're doing like a sales incentive and you've got 3 days to shop, you're doing all that kind of fun stuff. And I think the confidence in it comes from getting results. So if you're a brand new network marketer and you're like, I don't know if I'm, able to close the sale, and I don't know if this is really something people need, you're not in alignment. Like that's the problem. That's why you're so not confident to say, order today. Something's off, right? Mm-hmm. So dig a little bit deeper. Do you believe in what you're doing and what you have to offer and how it helps people? Then get them to push the button. And I think also we've all made decisions and been like, okay, so there was a quote that said, I'm going to totally screw it up. Doesn't matter. The point is, it's not worth sitting in indecisiveness. Like the pain of not deciding is much less than just making the decision and waking up the next day and having it done. And so when I sold my family home care agency, I made that decision because I'd go to bed every night wishing I didn't own it anymore, but scared of what it would look like to say, I don't want to own it anymore, or the 6-month transition. And so a lot of times your customers, potential customers, prospects are sitting on the edge. And if it's just someone that you're going to like convince, right? Or if it's someone that just needs a little bit more guidance. And the way you close that sale and get them to make a decision is not just send the little incentive that their name will go in a draw, but it's asking the right questions. Like, what do you need to know to make a decision? Is there anything that you need answered in order to decide if it's a good time now, or if you want me to put you on my follow-up list? And they will tell you. And they're like, oh, I really do need to do it. I've tried this, and this is why I'm worried. And they'll tell you the objection. It's literally just conversation, but I like to make it fun. And so by doing parties and just having those little, like, if you order by Friday, your name will go on the draw. There's a lot of people that don't leave themselves. They're like, I'm not missing that. I'm like, cool.
Yeah. Because the drawing thing is something that matters to some, but others, it's not going to be a thing because they've got a story in their head that they never win anyway.
Yeah.
So for some people, it's going to work. For some people, it won't. But I think the most important piece from what you just said is asking the question, what do you need to know to decide? And this is true whether you're trying to sell the product or have the business conversation with somebody. Yeah. Because how many of us had, and this was something I struggled with for probably the first 5 years that I was in my direct sales business, were the fence sitters, chasing them down, trying to get them to freaking like decide to jump in or not. Like it didn't hurt my feelings if they didn't. I wasn't going to take it personally. Their life, their choice. That's great. Yeah. But for God's sake, just freaking make a choice was my thing. And so once I started asking, what do you need to know? Because obviously you either don't have enough information, because I always followed up with, you either don't have enough information to make the right decision. So what is it? Or you don't know how to tell me no.
Yeah.
Which one is it? And people would either ask me the question or they'd be like, yeah, I didn't know how to tell you no. Great, cool. Totally fine. We are still friends. No worries.
Yeah, it's so true. Hey, one of the things we're going to get to do for your audience is give them access to some free training resources, but I put together some scripts in a boards app. I don't know if y'all are boards people, but I have some of those kind of scripts because there are some key phrases, and I have had to have that breakup conversation with people a lot. And the other option is possibly they just we're kind of invited. They're not even a perfect prospect is another option. Like
right.
I don't have hair, skin, and nails. Therefore I need nothing that would grow hair, skin, and nails. Okay, cool. You're not my perfect prospect, but most of the time it is. They're lacking information or they don't know how to say no. And so I've had to have that breakup conversation. And so a lot of what I train on is the first simple message, the second follow-up, and the third breakup. And so the follow-up when they don't respond is just like, hey, did you get my last message? Let's not make it weird and tell ourselves all the lies of like, if they wanted it, they would have done it. Or if they didn't, they wouldn't do it. No, probably they're busy and they forgot about you. So let's not make it about you, right? Let's make it about them. And so the third message, I do say that. I'm like, hey, Jenny, just checking in again. And I always say what I'm thinking. So I'm like, I so don't want to be that weird harassing consultant, but I know we had, discussed a few days ago, you're ready to take control of your health. I sent you a couple of things that you could take a peek at. I didn't hear back. And then I'll say, if I'm like, this is weird, like they're reading it, they're not responding, they were super engaging, they fell off. I'll just say, if anything has changed, no big deal. If you're not interested, just let me know. Like, let's not make this weird. Let's not be dumb. Like it is literally not. But reason why that conversation would be hard is if you weren't direct enough with the offer on the front, because how can you do a follow-up that directly when you kind of like alluded that you might have something to sell or like maybe they would need it. And so a lot of like my conviction with our industry is that number one, you have to be in alignment. Like we talked about, it is okay to change companies, but people do it completely for the wrong reasons. They think it's greener, grass is greener on the other side. But if there is a true alignment issue, or this is just not the direction you're going, or something has massively happened where, fine. But, after you've done that, then just speak a clear message and do it unapologetically in the style that is you. And if you're doing that and you're direct and you make the offer and they're not interested, it was not on you. But if you walk away with like, gosh, they probably don't even know what I was offering. Well, then that's on you.
Right. Exactly.
So figuring that out. And that's why I think I do love parties. It's the whole package. You're not like halfway in the middle of a message. You get to present the whole thing, the whole story, the whole experience, all the ways to join. But since then, we definitely have moved outside of parties, as our only strategy. But at the end of the funnel, I want them at a live event with me. That's my biggest end goal, but some will convert before.
Right.
I had a girl show up in my account as a brand partner. I'm like, we've never even talked about any of that. Like they know how to search and make decisions, or they're kind of watching outside of what you think people are paying attention to. But a lot of times they need a little bit more just of the human factor. So if you guys are building online and you're not engaging with your audience outside of just posting, you're missing the boat. So live video is still one of my favorite things. And that's one of the reasons why, like once they're like, oh, Jenny is legit, she's real.
Yep.
Now they're ready to buy because they've got lots of choices in all the types of products we sell. And you guys are ultimately, you, the one listener, since we're podcasting, you are the difference. So if you're laying in bed or whatever you're doing, showering, doing all weeding, power washing, like it is literally just, you are the difference. So that's what we got to remember.
Absolutely. And I've said, I can't even tell you how many times on the podcast, right? People don't buy from big box, like people don't buy brands. People buy people, right? We don't go to Target. We go there because of convenience.
Correct.
Right? It's convenient. They have everything we need. The price is oftentimes within our budget. And we can get multiple things all at the same time. But when it comes to every other purchase in our life, when you look at some of the more personal things, especially personal things like healthcare, like health and wellness, like, anything that falls within the realm of direct sales and network marketing, you bought because of the person. You were trying to help your neighbor, your sister, your friend, the teacher that you teach with, the nurse who works, in the other department in the hospital that you just watched lose 50 pounds of weight and go from, extra large scrubs to size small scrubs. How did you do that? Right. You bought because of the person. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We buy people and we join people. And especially if you are doing network marketing, because it's a relationship business. And if you're team building, you better start building relationships because you aren't just selling a product. And if you want them to go through the journey with you, then they do have to buy into you. There's going to be some people who just bought because it was a shiny object. I don't usually have them in my business for repeat sales. I don't usually have them hosting for me. I don't usually have them joining my team. It's the ones that actually are like, oh, she's a real person. I'm a real person. She had a real conversation. And that's when I started teaching class, because granted, teaching is my background, but what I discovered is we think we know what people are doing, but you only literally see like 20% of what we're really doing. The other 80% is when my camera's off and I'm in the quiet moments. So I need to start helping you see what's really happening, what really is my time spent, what really is the conversion and the conversation. And so when I put together my first party class, it was pretty intense, but I'm like, you guys, it is not about that 15-minute Facebook party with those 8 posts over. That is not what it's about. You want to see what we're really doing? Here's the other 80%. Here's the systematic process. Here's the conversations. And I would just start screenshotting conversations and helping people move through things, because that's what my upline did for me. Because I would say, no, I'm asking. And she's like, show me. And she's like, you think you did, but you didn't. I'm like, what? She's like, that's not what you said. I'm like, interesting. And so dig in if you guys don't have an upline because the uplines are not coaches. I remember a VP came into my class and she brought 23 of her downlines. She's like, I'm not their coach. She's like, I'm not paid to do this part. And that's why we have the jobs that we do working, and why people hire, coaches, is because we can dig in deeper. And it is, my role as an upline is drastically different than my role as a coach. I feel like I have 2 businesses. I feel like all my students that are in my coaching program, I'm actually the upline of like 200 different companies, but not technically.
Right.
And then I'm the upline of my downline. And I'm like, I wish you guys would come into coaching. It's a completely different experience, because we can dig into really what's really happening. And so on social, as you're building, when you see whatever you see on the surface, I promise you, the people who have done it successfully, it's not just that one reel and all of a sudden people like mass swarmed their inbox. They have processes, they have plans. And part of what we're doing inside this next workshop is, it's called the GPS to success, but it is about mapping out your goals, creating your plan, and then mapping out what strategy you choose and breaking it down into a daily method of success. And the difference is the daily habits. Right? The things that you're going to consistently rinse and repeat and do over and over again, and sprinkle in some fun along the way. So,
oh my gosh, all the wonderful like parables that are popping up in my head now based on some of the things that you brought up, the sitting in indecision, the discomfort of sitting in that. Like I've heard the story before about, a man walks up to a house and this dog is sitting on the porch just howling away. And the guy's like, what's wrong with your dog? And the owner's like, oh, he's sitting on a nail. Well, aren't you going to do anything about it? No, because he's in enough pain to complain, but he's not in enough pain to move.
That's solid.
Not my problem. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like perfect for that. So there you go. Feel free to share that.
That's really good. I haven't heard that one. I was thinking though about my new dog. I have a new German Shepherd that my friend Jess thought that I needed. And I think I'm doing an okay job, but he's fenced in the yard. And you know, what's funny, when I open the fence, he won't come out. And I'm like, come on. I'm like, it's like he boxed himself in a box I didn't keep him in. Yeah. I'm like, I either trained him really well, or it's kind of like what there's all kinds of stories, but the alligator only grows as big as the cage kind of thing. Yeah. And so we do that to ourselves in business. We limit ourselves. And so really the way you get past that is just a lot of self-development and a lot of personal growth. And it's not an easy journey. It's a ton of fun, but that's probably the hardest part, is just like not keeping ourselves in this thought process. I mean, we tell ourselves all the lies that either someone else told us and we bought into. I'm like, that's not even real. That's not even true. But we keep repeating it enough that now we're convinced it's true. So just step out. There's so many amazing ways to build online, and this direct sales, network marketing, social, retail, I don't even care what label you put on it. It's all the same.
It is.
We are one. We need to really unite. And that is part of what my mission is like, I don't care what company you choose. Like, we're all doing the same thing. So just unite in it. Don't argue over the how, have a clear why, know what you're doing, and then just go make a big influence, go have a mass impact.
Oh my gosh. Yes. All right. So I'm already going to just listener, badass crew, go back, re-listen to this episode like 10, 15 times, because she just packed this little bit of time with so much freaking information. Like, this is the stuff I work with my clients on all the time. And this is the stuff she's teaching her clients all the time. And this is why she and I are so well aligned. Gotta listen to this episode like 2, 3, 4 times. You have to. Like, I don't normally tell people what they should do. No. Seriously, you are wasting your time just listening to this once because there's so much information here. And every time you listen, you're going to pick up something new. So someone's listening to this, they want to connect with you because they're like, oh, this is freaking good. Or I want to get better at those live parties that are happening online or even in person. Cause I'm assuming whatever you do online, you can do in person, right?
Correct. Because it was founded on in-person business. So all I did was shift my in-person business to online. So it's an easy reverse back. But yeah, so I definitely still have my party course. I'm not doing that as a live challenge anymore. It's now on you can purchase the course. We have a live coaching community with that, but I have a free business group and a training vault. So if you guys want to connect with me, go to socialsaleschool.com and you'll get all of the free training resources. It will link you to our free Facebook community and you won't miss out on anything that we're doing. We have the party community. We have a smaller membership club. And then my favorite thing in the whole world are my impact makers. That's my full 1-year coaching program under my Purpose Creator Action Taker University. And through that, we do some smaller events. And so I usually run something live about every 2 months. And so if you hit this at the time of August 2022, on August 17th, we do have a live event and we'll put that link in the show notes. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be the first time we've ever done this. We even have swag. We have tote bags. Nice. It's called Ignite Your Impact. And we're going to take people through our GPS to success system, goals, plans, and strategy. And it's a virtual retreat. And it's going to be 5 days of training with me and my team. And those are by far my favorite ways for people to experience a little bit of how we help, because we can engage with you. We can interact with you and you'll really get a feel for like if we're your people or not. And so it will be a lot of network marketers, a ton of learning about building your base system to set you up to be that leader. And that was when I went to sell that home care agency, a consultant said, you could never sell this thing. I'm like, why? He's like, it's all in your head. And I was like, oh my gosh. So when I moved into direct sales again, after leaving for 6 years, I saw the gap. I'm like, so many people they're having high paid jobs. They have no systematic processes. Therefore, you can't duplicate. And so that was one of the big shifts I made in that business so I could prep it to sell. And then in my coaching business, what I do with my students is like, what is it that you do every day? Like their clue freaking lists. Yeah. They're like, I don't really know. I'm like, what are the key things that even when you're in St. Lucia for a week, because praise God, that was my story a week ago. I was like, what are the things I cannot not do? And what is 80% of the stuff that really probably doesn't matter? And so that's what we'll narrow in on that GPS. It's going to be incredible. Like I'm probably going to give the most of myself I ever have, but it's going to be the foundation. And if that's all people do, they will walk away with clarity, simplicity, and it's going to be so much fun. Yeah, I'll do kind of dumb giveaways and blow some blowers and streamers and it'll be great. So it'll be cool.
Oh, I love that. So like she just said, go to socialsaleschool.com. The link is in the show notes. And then if you're hitting this before August 17th, can they join after August 17th? Like if they listen on the 18th, is it too late?
No, it's not too late. We leave the training open for 5 days on the base ticket and then VIPs get 30 days. So there's a guest ticket and then we have a VIP upgrade. And so then after that, it will be shut down and it just goes to my Impact Makers program for forever. So after that, it's not open to the public anymore, but we'll always be doing something. So by October, we should be live again somewhere.
Good. All right. So if you're listening to this a little late, that's okay. Still go to socialsaleschool.com to check into all the free stuff that she's got going. And then I'm sure there's a place for you to sign up, drop an email, connect with her on social media, whatever, so that you don't miss out on any future events that she may be having.
That's right. It'll take you through all the things. You'll get my onboarding guide. You'll talk to my little Miss Chatty, the bot, and she'll invite you into all the things. Y'all can go stalk YouTube if you want to watch a few parties or whatever, just Cathy Callahan. So Jenny, I am so thankful and we got through it. High five.
Oh gosh. Virtual high five.
I'm going to overthink 25 hours from now. I'll still be thinking, what did I not say? Was it I just couldn't, I'm not a planner and it was supposed to be what it was supposed to be. So thank you so much for letting me have some of your time. And guests, thank you for listening.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, thank you for being here. Like I said, this episode was jam-packed. Like most episodes, there's one or two good nuggets, which is always good because then people can very quickly and succinctly pull those, right? But here's what's nice. People can go back and re-listen to this and they're going to pull, like seriously, off the top of my head, I'm thinking there's at least 5 different places where I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's, like I'm sitting here going, great. What am I going to call this episode now? Because there's like 5 good nuggets.
Sorry. I know. We'll figure out.
Don't apologize. It's a good thing they have the power of the replay in their hand. That's the great thing about podcasting. It's not live and it's all like, oh crap, it's gone forever. They can listen again, come back, check it out and go, that was really good. You know what? And guys, if you listen to this 3, 4, 5 times, trust me, that's a sign to you that you need to go to socialsaleschool.com and check out her stuff because there's even more there. So Cathy, thank you for taking time out of your life, out of your schedule to be here to share with the Badass Crew, my audience. I so appreciate you so much. And I'm sure you're probably going to be on all of my future summits because you are one of the top requested people every single time. People click on your stuff more than almost anybody else. So thank you so much.
I will be there. And here's what I like to encourage you guys. Go turn your excuses into your reasons and go take massive, imperfect action. That's it. Bye for now. Thank you, Jenny.
I love it. Oh, now you just gave me the title. I love it. Thank you so much. Now, for those of you who are listening right now, if this is your first time ever listening to a podcast or ever listening to my podcast, all you have to do if you want to know how to get to the show notes is click on today's episode on your phone and scroll up just a little bit. You'll see all of those show notes with all the links where you can connect with Cathy and her team on all of her free resources and also upcoming events. And of course, you should make sure you subscribe. Follow the podcast so you never miss another wonderful episode again, because Lord knows this is not going to be the only time I'm having Cathy on. She is going to be back. You are not a one-hit wonder, girl. You are coming back for sure, doing this again, because we have so much content we can dig into to share with everybody. So make sure you subscribe, rate and review the show. If you really enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you rate and review the episode on Apple, on Spotify, on Audible. Those are the 3 places where you can rate and review the podcast. So thank you again, Cathy, for being here. I so appreciate you. And Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way. Hey, Badass Crew, Jenny B here. I want to start by thanking Gina, Matt, Jessica, and Renee for finding me on social media and connecting with me. If you've been listening to the show for a while, find me on your favorite social media platform. Friend request me and send me a message letting me know that you're a member of the Badass Crew. I want to meet you. Trust me, I will fangirl on you so hard because I love you. So go find all of my pertinent social media links right in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.